Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips, which is brought to you by Wellness Forum Health, the Wellness Forum Institute, and Make Americans Free Again. First thing this week on Thursday is a member workshop. You must be a member to attend this. It is going to be presented by Diana Duganitz, who is an affiliate of ours, and it's called Heart Rhythms and Regulation, the Science Behind Heart-Focused Breathing. The workshop will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern. We will, of course, record it for those who can't join us live. And here is a basic description: 90-minute workshop exploring the science of the heart-brain connection. The workshop will empower you to self-regulate more effectively, reduce stress, optimize mental clarity, and positively influence physical health and performance. You must be a member to participate in this. So this would be a good time to join if you're not a member so that you can join us on Thursday for this workshop. And if you want information about that, send me an email at pampopper@wellnessforum.com. Also this week, busy week at Wellness Forum, as always, the autoimmune boot camp is this weekend, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. And then don't forget about the smoothie the extra green tea for smoothie. You buy 1 month or more of smoothie ingredients, you get a free $34 green tea. We're incentivizing more people to do our smoothie because we know it is such an important component of health. I use it every single day, regardless of where I am on the planet. I take the stuff with me. All right, I have two news items to share with you today, both super interesting. The first one is about creatine. And by the way, we did have a workshop scheduled for today on creatine and had to postpone it because the Library of Medicine and CPI was shut down for part of the weekend and I couldn't do research. So no fault of our own, and we will get to it. But I do have something to share with you regarding creatine, and it's an article claiming that creatine reduces body fat, which I think we'd all love to believe, right? So I'm going to talk about the difference between attention-grabbing headlines and facts. So it's difficult, if not impossible, to achieve optimal health while accepting clickbait headline news as fact without checking out the claims. And I'll give you an example of how to check out. We did a lot of this during the research bootcamp, by the way, which you can still purchase online access to that if you want to watch it. So here's what happened. Last week, Medscape featured an article titled, quote, "Can creatine play a positive role in obesity treatment?" End of quote. Well, we'd all love it if taking a pill reduced obesity, and creatine's a hot topic. According to this article, about 1 million people per month search for creatine each and every month. There's robust interest in magic pill solutions to health issues, as we all know. The article states that creatine, quote, "has shown limited promise as a therapeutic tool for fat reduction, particularly when integrated with structured exercise programs." So I thought, well, why don't we go look at the original study and see what it says? So the conclusion comes from a meta-analysis that included 12 studies with 266 participants. And here is the conclusion from the study, which is distinctly different from the way that it was all portrayed in the Medscape article. Adults who took creatine and engaged in strength training had a reduction in percentage of body fat, but no corresponding reduction in absolute fat mass. So their fat mass didn't change at all. What did change is these people in these studies were engaging in strength training, which would build muscle, which would result in the percentage of fat mass being lower without getting rid of a single ounce of fat at all. The net result, at least from this study, and spoiler alert, many others I've read about creatine, is that it's pretty useless for changing fat mass. Not shocking, but many people still like to believe that this is magic stuff. But I haven't gotten to the best part yet, which is the conflicts of interest of the authors. And you should always look at this because here's an example. 4 of the researchers were conflicted. There were 6, I think, conflicted beyond recognition. All right, so researcher Kandau has conducted industry-funded research regarding creatine supplementation. He's received donations from creatine-related entities for conducting research and travel support to make presentations about creatine at conferences. Kandau also serves on the scientific advisory board for a company that manufactures creatine and also has served as an expert witness and consultant for legal cases involving creatine supplementation. I didn't have time to look up the legal cases. I'll do that certainly before next week's video. I can bring you up to date on that. But obviously, he has a big interest in promoting creatine. So let's look at researcher Forbes. He served as a scientific advisor for a company that sold creatine. He's received creatine donations for scientific studies. He sells creatine education resources and is a sports nutrition advisor for the International Society of Sports Nutrition. Not quite as many conflicts as the guy Kandow, who I just talked about, but enough to cast a shadow on what he might think about creatine. I don't think he's a third-party independent observer, right? Researcher Campbell has received grants and contracts to conduct research on dietary supplements. He's a paid consultant for industry. He's received honoraria for speaking at conferences and writing lay articles about ingredients and topics related to sports nutrition. He's a member of the International Protein Board, which disseminates knowledge on protein and protein products. And then it goes on and on about dietary supplements and speaking engagements and advising manufacturing companies, etc. So he's a tiny bit conflicted, not as directly associated with creatine as the other two. Now, researcher Ostajic serves on the scientific advisory board for a company that makes creatine. He owns the patent sports supplements based on liquid creatine at the European Patent Office and has an active patent application for synergistic creatine at the UK Intellectual Property Office. Ostajic has received research funding related to creatine from the Serbian Ministry of Education, Science, and Technological Development, and 5 other entities involved in creatine research. So what we have is 2 researchers with no conflicts and 4 of them that have enough conflicts for 12 researchers. So the bottom line is this, highly conflicted researchers conduct a study showing that creatine is useless, and people reporting the results of the study report that it's promising. Essentially, a Medscape author looking for clicks spins the story, seeking clicks, obviously counting on the fact that few people will actually read the original study about which she wrote. And this is why you need to be informed. People are always asking me, well, how do you tell truth from fiction? You learn some rules about research. You learn how to figure this out by yourself. Let us help you. So join Wellness Forum, and you might want to enroll in the research and writing program, which you can see online, that boot camp that I did a couple of weeks ago. You can watch it online and learn for yourself. You need to be self-sufficient in this particular area because it's so darned important. The decisions you make about your health are some of the most important ones you're ever going to make because, let's face it, if we screw up these bodies, we don't have another one to go live in, at least the way things are right now, so we should take care of ourselves well. So advise against creatine supplementation for fat loss. Now, when we do the full workshop just a little bit later, we'll talk about what it might be good for and not so good for. You get the full story. But I couldn't resist sharing this with you. Now, also on Medscape, there's a headline. I'll read it to you. Newly launched kids' cereals prioritize taste over health, fueling obesity concerns. The author writes that ultra-processed foods are a global problem. True, that, right? And a major contributor is ready-to-eat breakfast cereals for kids. She cites a new study showing that newer cereals are worse instead of better, and they contain more fat, more sodium, and more sugar. The article includes the typical garbage spewed by expert doctors and dietitians stating that what parents really want is low-cost, convenient foods for their kids, implying that the real problem is the cereal makers. In other words, it's up to General Motors and Kellogg to make better cereals, and then kids' health will improve. This type of nonsense is, well, nonsense. Nowhere in the article does it state that oatmeal and fruit is cheaper than processed cereals, and it doesn't take long to make. In fact, if you stick a bunch of it in a crock pot with fruit on a Sunday night while you're sleeping, it'll make enough overnight oats for the entire week. And it's not any harder to put that in a bowl than cereal with plant milk. Smoothies are also quick to make. It takes me about as much time to make a smoothie as it takes some people to pour a cereal into a bowl in the morning and serve it. Nowhere in the article is there any discussion about the need to educate people and families about how to adopt a health-promoting diet, which is less expensive and can take even less time if batch cooking is involved. And of course, the authors don't cite data from the Sacramento Food Bank Project, which involved teaching people getting their food from the food bank and SNAP and other public sources how to eat well. I participated in that project, and 33 out of the 34 people resolved almost all of their health conditions within just a few weeks. So what's happened here? And why I felt compelled to comment on it is we've degenerated into a state of laziness in the country that takes our collective breath away. I mean, it's General Mills' fault that children are fat and sick. I suppose that one of the benefits of this is that if it's their fault, we can just all sit back and scream and holler and demand that red dye come out of the cereals and hope that that makes our kids lean and healthy and strong. Right. Fat chance of that happening, no pun intended. If we want a healthier country, we have to step up to do it. The way to make cereal companies make better cereal is to dry up demand for unhealthy cereals. And the way to do this is to teach people the real principles of health. There should be 10,000 food over medicine clubs in the United States. And what these clubs could do is donate time to help people who can't afford membership at Wellness Forum, like many of us did in Sacramento in 2011. Doctors should be taught how to incorporate this into their offices. We've been doing it for a long time, and we teach doctors how to do it if they choose to. By the way, the next diet and lifestyle intervention course starts on August 15th, the first step in making this happen in a professional office. So enroll and learn how. And by the way, this is a marvelous course, and even lay people take it. It's 15 lectures covering the science of nutrition, children's health, men's health, women's health, vaccinations, cancer, autoimmune, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and physical health, musculoskeletal health, mental health. It's just a very broad course, covers a lot of ground, and it's only $845. And this will be the last time it'll be offered at this price. We do have to start raising our prices. So last call on this particular tuition. It's been underpriced for quite a while, actually. So anyway, lots of stuff to learn with Wellness Forum through our school, through professional development, through membership and various levels of membership. And hopefully this story about the cereal, it just infuriates me. We have got to wake up and take responsibility for making things better in our country. Cereal companies aren't going to do it. And it's a ludicrous thought, right? Ludicrous to think that this is going to happen this way. So let's do it together. Let's start the 10,000 food over medicine clubs. Let's build a movement that's so huge through Make Americans Free Again, our nonprofit, and through Wellness Forum, that we can have our own clinics and our own. There's so much we could do just by force of numbers. We could have our own shared payment program for healthcare services. So help us make that happen by joining. And then one last thing, super excited about this. We are going to offer this fall a 6-week program, Monday through Thursday for 6 weeks. Every week there will be a yoga class, a strength training class, a cooking class, and a health class. Monday through Thursday, every week. And we'll, of course, video it because no matter what time we schedule, it's not going to work for everybody. And we'll start like the 3rd week in September, something like that. So look for more announcements about it. It's going to be super incredible. Happy, healthy you, and kind of get people off to a quick start with daily attention paid to it. So announcements about details and that sort of thing will be coming very soon. And don't forget, the member workshop for August is on autism. You have to be a member, can't buy your way in. You got to join. All right, that's it for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I will be back to you on Thursday with more news. Thank you so much for watching.